Thank you all for joining me for this SEO discussion. Those of you that know me know that I love talking about all things marketing, and SEO is one of our favorite topics because it's so critical. We're going to dive right in. Right before I do that, I just want to tell you that in the comments or the notes, I have a document that you can download and print if you want to take some actual notes during today's conversation. It's a nice little worksheet that'll walk you through the 10 points we're going to cover. So take a look, see if you can find that, click on it, download it if you want. Also, at the end of this conversation, we will be sending you not only access to the content we review and the links and the tools that I reference, but also all of the information we're going to be covering. You'll be able to see that and a recording of this conversation as well. So I do that so that you can wholly focus on today's conversation without having to take copious notes. But of course, if you want to, feel free to do so. So I'm going to get started and share my screen, and we're going to go ahead and jump in on all the exciting things we're going to cover today. Let's start at the beginning. And here we go. So today's conversation is 10 easy tips to boosting your website's SEO. Okay, so before we get started, I wanted to welcome you all. Thank you for taking time out of your busy days to spend time with me and each other, as well as covering this topic, because I truly believe it's important to everybody who owns or manages a business. So I'm Susan Davis. I own SHD Marketing. We work with businesses of all different sizes across the country to support their marketing needs, whether it's social media management, website design, branding, SEO, all of it. And it's not just me, it's a whole team of really talented individuals that I'm proud to consider my colleagues. So before we really jump into it, pop quiz. I would love for everybody to throw in the comments what your current comfort level with SEO is right now, here and now. 10 is high, 0 is low. Where would you put yourself? And throw that in the comments and we'll take a look. Okay, so who's the brave soul? We see some honesty. I see 4, I see 2. I was kind of thinking that 3. Absolutely, and that's fair. My goal with all trainings that we do is for it to be actionable and useful for you to implement. So I don't just want to show you a bunch of slides that I had fun making and we had fun dressing up and everything. I really want you at the end of this hour to be able to know in concrete terms exactly how you can ensure your website is best positioned for SEO. Okay, so now that we got that over with, a little level set on our capabilities, let's talk about what is SEO and what is organic SEO. So today's conversation is going to be, whoops, there's a few more people I'm going to let in, is going to be focused on organic SEO. So paid SEO is when you do a Google ad. We're not talking about that today. That'll be a separate conversation. We're talking about things you can do without investing dollars into Google to ensure that you are showing up in the organic search results. Okay, so the true definition of SEO is the practice of growing a website's traffic from search engine unpaid results. Okay, and why does this matter? It matters because it increases your brand recognition, it builds credibility because a lot of the tools we're going to talk about are adding value to your end user. It's going to drive website traffic. So this is work we do to get people to go to your website. And once they get to your website, we want to make sure they're converting into a lead. That's another whole conversation. Today's conversation is all about getting them to your website from that Google search. Okay. And one of the best things about SEO marketing is it's sustainable, it's inexpensive, and it has lasting benefits. That means if you were to spend a year investing in your SEO, building a bunch of content, working on, ensuring that you're hitting those keywords and everything, and then you were to take a 6-month break, you would still be reaping the benefits of that work that you did. Okay, so SEO marketing is always a good investment, and the sooner you start, the better. So let's think about just how massive this whole Google world we live in is, okay? So, and why, SEO is so critical. And that's because 45% of all search result clicks are organic clicks. So people aren't just going to the sponsored ones. There's opportunity here. We also know less than 1% people get to the second page of the search results. So getting on that first page is so critical. In fact, becoming the first one in the organic results, 28% of people show up there. I'm seeing there's some access. I'm sorry, I'm not able to support all those questions. I would try to access the training via your computer is the only feedback I can give. Apologies on that. And so, 28% of the first spot of that organic search results are getting the clicks. So there's a lot of value there. And then in terms of Google's algorithm, there's over 200 factors. So we could make this a multi-day retreat to talk about SEO, but we're going to instead make it a 1-hour training and talk about the biggest priorities and the biggest things that you could move the needle on. Okay. And two fundamental principles that really guide all of us here at SHD Marketing around SEO is number one, being genuine. Okay, gone are the tricky manipulative techniques to try to influence the algorithm that'll actually work against you. So everything we do is genuinely adding content that will help users find your website and access the information we need. Okay, and then we also always want to be thinking about the user experience and SEO. So we don't, maybe you've done this, you've gone to a site and there's just a ton of content like cluttering the page and you can tell they're just putting all that over and over and over because they're trying to praise to the SEO gods, but really your experience on the site is cluttered or unclear or confusing or just not a positive experience. So they're going to lose you that way. So we always want to make sure we're balancing our SEO goals with the user experience. Ultimately, we need both. We need people to be able to feel good once they get to your website as well. It's a lot of fun statistics. So I'll give you my source link if you want to play around there. So these are the items we're going to be covering. These are 10 points. And if you've downloaded from the notes section, the worksheet that you can take notes on, you'll see, 1 through 10. So let's go ahead and jump in. Keyword research. So this is where we start because this is really understanding what are the keywords people are using currently to find your site. And then you might be able to find that on your current website in your Google Analytics. And then we also want to do research. Where are the opportunities where you can use keywords, find new keywords to help drive people to your website and intentionally target those keywords so you become the first choice on that organic search results, okay? So you might be familiar with your own clients and know exactly what their terminology is, their pain points, all of that, and know exactly what those keywords are. But if you also want to do some research, there are 2 free resources you can use to do a little bit of planning around what those keywords you want to target are. So Google Keyword Planner is within Google Ads. They're going to be driving you to buy a Google ad. So resist the urge and just use the planner to get a little more data around what keywords are out there and where the opportunities might be. There's also a company called SEMrush that allows you to do about 5 searches before you hit the pay wall. And so that allows you to get a little bit of data there too around what keywords are getting most traffic and which ones have the most opportunity where you could actually hit the organic search results. Some are very competitive, as you can imagine, and some are less so. The more detailed you get, the longer tail keyword phrases, the more likely you're going to be able to hit that top of the organic search results. And I would challenge you to set a goal. So maybe this year you want to choose 5 or 3 or 10 keyword phrases that you want to have influence your SEO strategy. And you're going to spend this year really beefing up your website content, doing all the things to make sure that you show up with those keyword searches. Okay, so I'll just give you a quick screenshot. This is SEMrush. This is if, we were a gym and we wanted to look at what are the keyword searches. Now, Planet Fitness is an example of a large national gym who has perhaps deeper marketing budget to pull from for their SEO. So we're going to see, if you look at this KD, that's keyword difficulty, that there's some red indicators that show that that's going to be really challenging for some of the broader phrases. But if we were to hone down, if we were a local gym in Norwell, for example, and look for fitness centers in Norwell, then we'd be more likely to be able to achieve that. And it gives us a little bit of feedback so we can see, is this a phrase that's even used? That's what volume shows us. And is this a phrase that people are already investing a lot to own? That's what the keyword difficulty shows us. So we find the sweet spot, and it goes from red to yellow to green. And that'll help inform you what those key search terms should be that inform your entire SEO strategy. Google Ads is another one. And so this is just a screenshot to show you the same thing and the type of data that you'll see. You can download the keyword ideas and again, allow that to inform the search terms you're going to shoot for. Okay. So now that we have the keywords, let's put them to work. So step 2 is optimizing on-page elements. So that means the content within your website. So for those of you that have a website, and those of you that have a website that SHD Marketing created, all of this has already been done. Okay. For those of you that didn't work with SHD Marketing on your website, these are things to check. Now, if you have new keywords that are part of your strategy, you're gonna want to go in and update things to make sure they align with your new strategy. Okay. These are the things we recommend. Ensuring all the items on your website, like the images and videos, meta descriptions, header tags, they all include your keywords that you're going for. Okay. We want to repeatedly use keywords without being cumbersome throughout your content. And then we want to make sure each page has a unique title and description. Okay, so that's kind of making sure your site is optimized. Now we want to think about mobile optimization. Okay, so the percentage of people surfing the internet from their phones is only increasing, and it's around 70% right now. And for certain segments of the population, like busy moms, if that's your target audience, that number might be even higher. So we want to make sure that your website is mobile friendly. And again, SHD clients, that was part of your website package. If you built a website using a different system, this is something you'll want to make sure. Responsive website that changes based on the size screen. So is it a cell phone? Is it a big desktop? Is it an iPad? We want your website to show up and be responsive regardless of that. And Google cares about that as well. So for user experience, it matters, but also Google will prioritize the mobile friendly sites over ones that aren't. We think about, the legible font sizes and, all the types of different ways that we can make sure that your content works for any type of screen. Quality content creation. Okay, this is my favorite because this is all about marketing and content marketing, which really means creating documents, resources, materials that truly are useful to your target audience. And you all, as business owners, know your target audience. You know exactly who they are, what their pain points are, etc. So we want to make sure we're leveraging that knowledge and including content on your website that really speaks to that. So we want to make sure that it includes the keywords. We want to have useful information as blog posts, as infographics, as images, as videos. So regardless of how somebody's searching for something, if it's a Google image search, for example, your infographic would be teed up if they're using the same keyword searches that you've been targeting. So when we think about content marketing, we think about tutorials, reference documents, tips and tricks, all things like that. And with anything, it's always nice to start with a content calendar to plan out the year. So if you're working off of the worksheet, you might have a handful of keywords that you're shooting for. A good next step from there is to identify what types of content you want to generate to support that. And then choose some diversity in there. So an article, a audio file even, or an infographic, that kind of diversity with your content's going to serve you well. Backlink building. So backlink building is almost like having a citation on somebody else's website. Okay, so it means a link to your website from another website. And the more reputable or the more traffic that website gets, the more you will be rewarded for that. So if you were to be a guest podcast host on somebody's, podcast, or a guest blogger or something like that, and they link to your website at the bottom of it, that will serve you well and support your SEO performance. So those are things to be doing. If you're not currently, directory listings are a really easy way to, get this done, and something you could do by end of day. If you're a member of a chamber or an association like the Girl Gang Association, we have, for the Girl Gang Association, that's a business networking group, we have a directory, and everybody who has a website has a link on that directory to their site, and that is supporting their SEO as well. Okay, so think about that when you think about who you're collaborating with. And when you think about opportunities on who to partner with, who, maybe you have a goal of, certain influencers or people within your community in 2024 that you want to align with. Thinking about their, who might be, seeing regular high website traffic. Those people are going to be the great partners to support your SEO goals. Okay, when you share the great, useful content on social media, that might help other people access it and want to link to it as well. And almost everything, quality matters more than quantity. So when you think about what your goals are, if 6 for the year seems overwhelming, do 2 and do them really, really well. Okay? Going quickly, moving on to 6, optimizing website speed. So if we have a website that's really slow to load, Google is going to see that data and know that it's not user-friendly. And so we want to make sure that your website is easy for computers, devices of all different types to be able to load the content on it. So that means compressing images to be the ideal file size before you load them to your website. Okay, we don't want the images to be blurry, so there's an ideal size that we always shoot for. If there's unnecessary code, there's a lot of other things in there that can slow it down too. And then if you want to use a free resource, Google's page speed insights can help you identify if you do have any issues and then help you address them. 7, improve user experience. So right at the beginning, we talked about how the user experience is really like, hand in glove with SEO. It's not like, a fight or a battle. We want to do both things. And so really making sure that your website is easy to navigate. When people get to your website, are they able to find what they need? Are they able to explore the navigation easily on a mobile phone as they are if they're on a laptop? We want to always use logic and rational thought when we're thinking about how things are structured and how folders are implemented. And then whenever we use headers and content, that allows people to skim to find what they need. So it's just another way to make it really user-friendly for people to find what they need. We love with websites we build and seeing, buttons and other things that allow people to engage to further explore other content within the site. Okay, step 8 really speaks to local SEO. So, these are businesses that really serve a specific geographic area. So SHD marketing has a lot of South Shore clients, but we're not limited to that. We have clients across the country. You might have a business that is limited to a specific geography. So if you own a gym, to continue on the example that we started with, that what your demographic is, and within a certain area, that's who you're going to be pulling from. So it's really important that on your website, on the footer of your site, which is the bottom of each and every page throughout your website, you have your address, the towns you serve, the business description, and those keywords if they're ones that you're targeting on your page. Okay, if you haven't claimed your Google business listing, so this is like almost like Google's directory of businesses and organizations. If you haven't claimed that yet, you'll want to do that as soon as possible. That allows you to manage the profile. You can add specific images to it. You can add the description to make sure it's accurate and current, make sure the contact information is consistent across the board. So the phone number there is the same as the phone number on your website, for example. And then you can also collect Google reviews. And so Google reviews, allow people to write a review on that Google profile, okay? And then when people are researching different business options, they can see right in your Google profile exactly who has reviewed it and what their feedback is, which is always so powerful as small business owners. So in the comments, there is my Google review link so you can see what it looks like. I suggest you find your own and have that link at the ready for clients, maybe put in your email signature. More reviews, the better you're going to be served. Okay, the Google business, and those of you that haven't written a review yet, you're invited to do so for SHD marketing. We love everybody's feedback. That's one of our marketing goals for the year, is to grow the number of reviews we've gotten. So that's in the chat. So that could be super easy for you to do. One thing that we always think about with our social media clients is you might on social media be targeting LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, any or all or others of those. I encourage you to also consider Google Business like it's a social media channel. So when you have an event like today's event that I'm hosting, this SEO training, I put it on my Google Business profile as an event. And it doesn't just have to be an event, maybe it's a customer success story or a article about a specific topic you're interested in. Adding that as an update on Google Business, again, shows Google that you are active and regularly updating your content and engaging with your clients and providing new services. So those are really quick and easy ways to do that. Okay, so question I see came through. Lucy asked how often we should post to it, which is a great question. And so, yay, and she added it to her social media calendar. We love that. And so what I would say is I don't think that there's like a recommended number. I could research that and get back to you. I tend to post things that are a little bit more businessy, a little bit more tangible, almost like the filter I put on Instagram versus LinkedIn. That is the filter I consider for Google Business. So I might not do like that funny meme or, the inside, behind the scenes content, but I would do something that's really, a little bit more informative, a little bit more in that content marketing category that you're doing on social media. So I hope that answers your question. Great. Step 9, social media integration. So we're talking about digital marketing and it all pulls together from website to social media, Google Business, and SEO sees it all. So some things you can do to help support your SEO goals while leveraging what you're doing on social media is on your website, because we know our websites, when we update them often, we are rewarded in our SEO results. So you can have an auto feed on your website that automatically updates to show your most recent 7 Instagram posts. That's what I have on the bottom of my homepage. Many of you, if we designed your website, that's what you have. And that's a nice way for your website to auto update even without you going in and touching it. You also want to make sure that you're promoting your content that you're putting on your website on social media. That's a great channel to do so. We know that our content shared on social media is also indexed quickly. So that's going to help Google find the content on your website as well. Okay. We've already gotten to the 10th step. Okay. We're going to have a lot of time for questions, which is great, because I know a lot of you might have them. But the 10th step is really the most critical, and that is around regularly monitoring and analyzing your results. So this isn't a set it and forget it. This is adding it to the dashboard that you look at each month as a business owner to track what's working, what's not working, where your opportunities are, and where you can refine things. Okay, so the way you would do that, there's already dashboards that exist, which is exciting. And that would be around Google Analytics and the Google Search Console. Those tee up those most critical metrics. You can dive deep into like each and every nuanced data point. Go for it if that's exciting to you and you get into it, and SEO is a big part of your business strategy for the year. But even just taking a look at those high level metrics will allow you to keep an eye on this information and ensure there's no surprises, because let's not forget that we all operate in a very competitive industry and space. we can't just assume that we're going to show up because, we feel really good about the number of phone calls that are coming to your desk. We know that we would need to make sure that you don't have competitors that are doing keyword search focuses that are trying to encroach on yours. And you can imagine, if we think about big industries and big companies, it's a very aggressive way of getting in front of their target audience. And I don't know if anybody's ever had that experience where you Google something very specific, even with the product name, Nike shoes, for example. And next thing you know, you clicked on the first thing, assuming it was Nike.com, but it was really Adidas.com because they very intentionally bid on that key word because they're trying to get that conversion. Okay, so I'm not saying all your competitors are going to be that aggressive. I just want you to know that there is that element to it that, other people's strategy could influence your own performance. So this is definitely an area that you want to make sure that you have on your radar and you find a way to integrate it into whatever your business metrics are that you're tracking regularly, quarterly even. Fine. Just make sure it's something you're tracking, even if you're not choosing to invest in SEO. Okay. I hope this number went up, but I realize this is a lot of information to cover. And I went through it quickly because I wanted to get through it all. And I want to hear from you about your own experience and your own unique challenges or opportunities or, maybe input of what you're dealing with. Based on now, what would you say your comfort level with SEO is? If you could just throw that in the chat, that would be super helpful for everybody else on the call and for me to think about, the impact this training has had. Who's going to go first? Let's see. All right, especially those that indicated in the beginning. Did it stay the same? We saw 2s and 4s and 3s. 8, yes. 5, okay, great. Love seeing that. So it sounds like, this isn't a big mysterious thing. Again, we've gone away from, the coding, the cryptic, the manipulation of it. It really is serving your audience and serving it in a way that Google will reward you for with some intentional direction based on analytics, data, consistency. We can't spend a month on it and expect to see it continue to grow over an 8-month period. But just know that this is a great long game area to invest in because the sooner you start and the sooner you are intentional about your strategy, the sooner you're going to start seeing the results. And like we said at the beginning, the results will continue as well, even if you have to take a break. Okay. So I'd love to open it up for questions if there are any. Again, we'll share some resources, but feel free to jump in with any questions and you can throw them in the chat or you can unmute yourself and ask just on the call. Okay, so I see a question. So many moving parts, hard to link together all the things. Okay, so I'll phrase that in a question, like how to prioritize, right? Like how do we know which things matter most? And they all matter, right? I had to boil it down to just 10. So I would say if we were to think about, the priorities, and I'm going to actually toggle to the list of 5, because I want to look at that. So I don't want to give anybody whiplash, but we're going to take a little journey back through everything and look at the top 10 list and really think about like, okay, if you could only do 3, what are they? And so, I do think the Google business one is a no-brainer, especially those of you that are doing social media marketing because you're doing it once. Let's just get more mileage out of that content. Okay, so here's our list of 10. So if you're having trouble understanding, exactly what is the most critical, I would encourage you to first tackle the local SEO piece in your Google business profile and regularly updating that. The second one would definitely be quality content creation. So, those that have attended other trainings know that, Content marketing is a way for you to demonstrate your expertise. It's a way to provide value to your end users, something they can't get anywhere else. And it's a way to deepen that relationship with people so they feel like, this is somebody who's helped me. I'm more likely to reach out to them. I'm more likely to refer them. Okay. And if I had to choose a third topic, even though they're all important, I would say just number 10, regularly monitoring it. Just have it on your radar. Look at it each month when you look at your financial review or when you look at your other, marketing metrics, like the number of followers you have or the number of people that have filled out a prospect lead form or downloaded your, lead magnet on your website. Just add it to that and look at it regularly, because what we don't measure and track, we're not really managing. And so SEO, whether you like it or not, it's a factor. It matters as part of your business, especially if you want to use your website as a way to generating leads, driving people to it, and then converting them into leads. So you have more prospects, you have more people that you can help. Okay. I have another question. Lucy Wicker asked, what's a good size for photos? So good question. I don't know off the top of my head, but I will ask somebody on my team to throw that into the chat, because there is a specific size. I just didn't do it recently, so I can't tell you right now, but that is a good thing, especially Lucy's a photographer. So that's a really critical detail as she provides photos to clients and as she thinks about her website, which likely has a whole lot of photos on it. So we want to make sure that all those beautiful photos aren't bogging down our site and, and creating penalties from the Google gods. Okay. I see we created a new Google business page and asked our customers to review, update photos. We can't get our old page to disappear. That's really frustrating. I've heard that before, where there is somebody who somewhere created a Google business account for somebody and they can't get access to that. And I don't know of any workarounds outside of contacting Google, which unfortunately isn't a friendly help desk on the other end of a phone. So I don't have any tricks to that. If anybody else does, though, please chime in. I've heard the same challenge with like Instagram. If you don't currently have two-factor authentication on your Instagram, put it on today. People have gotten their accounts hacked or just lost access to it and never have a way to access it again. And we see that with clients who maybe had a coworker who doesn't work with them anymore, set it up, and that person isn't accessible, and there is no way to get it in some cases. So you have to, you have to always make sure that you maintain control. These are business assets. So we don't want to treat them lightly. We don't want to just give anybody access to it. We want to make sure that you understand who controls it, how you can access it, and all that good stuff. Donna just said she gave me a review. Thank you so much, Donna. Appreciate it. Really appreciate that. And she's adding it to her work. That's amazing. And she says she's going to pay us to do it. Okay, we're happy to do that too. Thank you, Donna. But glad you have the knowledge that you need to really understand what it is. It doesn't have to be mysterious. Katie Kenny chimed in, banner images, 2000 pixels on page max of 750 pixels. So thank you, Katie, for that information for everybody. Super helpful. Great. Any other questions anybody wants to ask live here on the call? I know there's some other folks on. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, I'm going to go back to backlink building. I don't know if anybody else has, but I usually get some emails from people asking me to link their article or something on my website or post it for them. And I always delete those, even though they are garden related. Do we have a benefit for linking somebody else's article to us? Or like, I guess I have to really think about who I could partner with on some of my articles, or say like a educational video, so that it is beneficial. But do we have to be very careful about who we pick to backlink ourselves, especially if we don't know them?
100%. Yeah.
It could be a total
Once,
scam because I get a bunch of emails from people I've never heard of before, and they want me to link their garden article, something about hummingbirds or something about, pollinator pathway or something. And I'm just like, delete, delete, delete.
right, right. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, I think anything you have on your website, like just like you wouldn't let anybody put their brochure on your checkout counter, right? Like you will
Right.
only, A, you don't want it to be cluttered. And B, you want to make sure all the collaborators in your space align with your values. And third, they're providing value to your clients. So maybe something about the environment on Cape Cod, because you're located in Sandwich. Yeah, that has value. People who visit your garden center are gonna want to learn about that. It aligns with your values as somebody who cares about the environment and the community. So that would be appropriate. Whereas, somebody selling a hummingbird feeder that's very specific may or may not align. And yes, I would treat that and edit it very, very carefully. I don't think you necessarily get any benefit from linking to them. You're the benefits for them, which sometimes is a nice collaboration offer. Not everything needs to go both ways, but just know that is how that works. We also, when somebody clicks something on your website and they go to that website, then they're kind of gone, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
Right.
we might want them to finish doing what we want them to do on our website before they journey on to other sites. Does that answer your question, Donna?
Oh, it does. It does.
Okay.
Keep them on my own site and look to partner with somebody that maybe I can send some articles to myself.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a great idea. You have so much great content, and finding places that are looking for content because they want to update their site. That does help their SEO, but they don't necessarily have the resources, the knowledge, the bandwidth to write as many blog articles as they might want to.
But it should also be, I think you said, like, I don't want to take like the Sandwich Garden Club because they don't have a lot of people going to their site. So you want to maybe possibly look for somebody who has more viewership also,
Yes,
right?
and for
Okay.
you, that would be Heritage Gardens, right? They
Yes.
have they do a lot of beautiful marketing, and they have a lot of great traffic, I presume. I've never looked behind the curtain to see, but as a fan of theirs, I would imagine that they do. They have a lot of events, all that. They're investing in driving people to their site. That would be the perfect type of place to target, maybe make that like a short-term goal to get some backlinks on their site.
Okay.
Great. Awesome. Any other questions? Okay. Well, I will stop sharing so we can see everybody's beautiful faces. And then I'm going to just bring up one final slide as we close out our conversation. Here, I thought I was going to take up your full hour, but I'm going to give you some time to process, to take notes, to come up with your plan. What's your goal? Whenever we do a training, it's a big investment, but we don't want to leave and have that be, oh, that was something I did for 40 minutes, 30 minutes one day. How do we make this actionable? How do we make this something that you actually implement into your business? So maybe take a minute and think about what goals you can apply, set for yourself that are sustainable, that are things you can actually do, and make a note of those. If you happen to have downloaded the document, then I encourage you to write a note there. Maybe put it on a sticky note and put it on your computer so you don't lose sight of it. And then I would encourage you to just like you do all your goals, you are all very successful people. You keep an eye on it, you hold yourself accountable, all of that good stuff. And if you do want to do a consult with us and you do want to meet and talk about your own SEO goals, we're of course here ready to do that. We love supporting SEO goals. We know how important it is. We know how time consuming it is. And that's why we like to help out our clients. So I see a question, yep, Amber, on will the recording be available? And it will. We're going to share the recording as well as these slides so you can access all of these links. We'll send those to you. Really appreciate you taking time out of your day. If other questions come up, don't be a stranger. We love talking about this, as you can tell, and we could, if we don't know the answer to your question, we'll help you find it. Any other questions before we wrap up? Awesome. Thank you all. Appreciate seeing you. I hope you have a good rest of your day. And I know I'll be seeing lots of you very soon. Bye.